إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون إن خير الحديث حديث محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Brothers and sisters, we praise Allah the Almighty, we believe in Him, we trust in Him, we bear witness that nothing deserves to be worshipped except Allah. We bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Allah's messenger and His servant. What I like to do today, inshallah, in this khutbah, is remind us about two things that the Prophet had to do, alayhi salatu wasalam. One of the most important things, number one, mubashir wa nadhir. Mubashir is a person who gives good news. And we make a mistake, in my opinion, and we just talk about the good news, but don't talk about the warning. He's nadhir. The mubashir, he's a giver of good news, and number two, but he's a warner. So today I like to give you the good news and then the bad news. The good thing about us, alhamdulillah, we're Muslims. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, لا تموتون إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Don't die except as a Muslim. The good thing, the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, told his companion Abu Dhar and Mu'adh bin Jabal, اتق الله حيثما كنت. Fear Allah wherever you are. وأتبع السيئات حسنة تمحوها. And follow up a bad deed with a good deed, it will wipe it out. That's good news. That's extraordinarily good news. You know why? Because every one of us are sinners. Every one of us. No, there's no exception. Every one of us are sinners. So what we have to do as Muslims, inshallah, is to follow up the bad deeds with good deeds. That's what Allah says, إِنَّ الْحَسَنَةِ يُذْهِبْنَ السَّيِّئَاتِ. And the good deeds will wipe away the bad deeds. So we want to follow up the bad deeds with a good deed. We ask Allah the Almighty that every one of you, Allah enters into His Jannah. And this is the great thing that we as Muslims, we look for. We look to enter the Jannah and to avoid the hellfire. One of the ways to get to Jannah is Salat. You know, if you read the Quran, you will see sometimes the people in Jannah will be able to talk to the people in hellfire, and the people in hellfire will be able to talk to the people in Jannah. I'm going to give you two examples, inshallah, in this khutbah. One of them, the people in Jannah, they look down at the people in hell, they said, مَا سَلَكَكُمْ فِي سَقَرٍ? مَا سَلَكَكُمْ فِي سَقَرٍ? Why are you in the hellfire? What are you doing in the hellfire? قَالُوا لَمْ نَكُ مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ. We're those who didn't keep up salah. You know, in France, if you ask the people in France what's their religion, 64% of them will say Roman Catholic. In France, 64% of the people say, I'm Roman Catholic. 64%. But only 4.5% actually practice. So my question to this owner, what percentage of the Muslims actually make salah? Do you think the majority of the Muslims will make salah? You ask them, what's your religion? Akhi, I'm a Muslim. Do you make salah? Well, you know, no. But I'm a Muslim. You fast in the month of Ramadan? No, but I believe. So, the thing is, you want to make sure you do the mandatory, and let's make salah. But you want to make sure you do it right. For instance, the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, came into a masjid. He was sitting down, and a man came in, and he made prayer. And he came to the Prophet and said, Assalamu alaikum ya Rasulullah. The Prophet said, Wa alaikum assalam. Farjit fasalli fa innaka lam tusalli. Go back and pray, for you have not prayed. So the man, he went back and he prayed again. And after he prayed, he came back to the Prophet and said, Assalamu alaikum, Ya Rasulullah. Wa alaikum salam. Farjit fasalli fa innaka lam tusalli. Go back and pray, for you have not prayed. He did it a third time. And when the Prophet ﷺ did it for the third time, the man said, Ya Rasulullah, I don't know a better prayer than this. Teach me how to pray. So number one, you want to make sure you do it right. The Prophet said, Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli. Pray as you see me pray. You want to do it right. And by the way, whenever you're in the masjid, you see someone, they're not praying right, correct them. In my masjid the other day, we came and the brother came late and he was praying and he was blind. But he was praying in the wrong direction. Allah forgive me. But what I did, I simply turned him around and pointed him to the way of the Qibla. So you want to make sure that you are praying and praying correctly. I remember once I did the Eid prayer in one city, and they had thousands of people there. And it's about 8 in the morning, 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. And so I had my back to the audience. And one of the brothers from the masjid, he took the mic and said, Imam Siraj is going to do the Eid Khutbah, but maybe some of you didn't make Fajr prayer this morning. So it's important before you make this Eid prayer, you make your Fajr prayer. So any of you who didn't make Fajr prayer, stand up now and make the prayer. So, you know, my back is to the audience. I'm not going to turn around and look and see who's going to get up 8 o'clock in the morning, who's going to stand up and make Salat al-Fajr. But I heard so much noise, rumbling, and so my curiosity got the best of me. So I turned around and looked and beheld maybe 70% of the people were standing up making Fajr prayer. I ain't making no judgment, that's not my point. My point is how many of us actually are making Salat on a regular basis. So number one, you want to make sure you're making it 5 times a day. And by the way, you want to hear something interesting about our Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam? You know that when he first got the instructions from Allah to make prayer, you know how many times Allah told him to make prayer? 50 prayers. And the remarkable thing, listen to what the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, his own words. فَرَجِدْتُ بِذَلِكَ حَتَّى مَرَاتُ عَلَى مُوسَى. And I returned with it. He was going to tell us to make 50 prayers a day until I ran to Musa. And Musa alayhi salatu wasalam said, what your Lord ordered you to do? He said 50 prayers a day. He said, listen, فَرَجِدْ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ فَإِنَّ أُمَّتَكَ لَن تُطِيقُ ذَلِكَ. Go back and ask your Lord to reduce it, for your people won't be able to do 50 prayers a day. So the Prophet goes back and forth. Allah keeps on reducing it until it's 5. So he passes Musa, and Musa says to him, فَرَجِدْ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ فَإِنَّ أُمَّتَكَ لَن تُطِيقُ ذَلِكَ. Go back. Ask your Lord to reduce it. Reduce what? Reduce 5. Because your ummah won't be able to do it. Was Moses right? Allah. Allah. So you want to make sure you make the salat, you make it right. And then lastly, you want to make sure that you're doing it for Allah. You ain't making prayer for nobody. You're not making prayer to be seen. You ain't coming to the masjid so that people will see you, so they'll say, yeah, man, he's a Muslim. So therefore, brothers and sisters, what I'm saying, the good news, alhamdulillah, is that inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless us to go to Jannah. Lastly, let me say this. I am, like most of you, probably a revert or convert to Islam. And the best thing that ever happened to me in my life is when I became Muslim. There's nothing even close to it. And there's one hadith that, on the one hand, it gives me strength, makes me happy, but on another hand, it scares me. I'll tell you the first part that makes me happy, and then in the second part of the khutbah, I'll tell you the second part of the hadith that scares me. The Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, said, and this is good news, إِنَّ أَحَدَكُمْ لَيَعْلَمُ بِأَحْلِ النَّارِ. Some of you do the work of the people of hellfire. And if you think about what we used to do, those who converted to Islam, think about what we used to do. حتى ما يكون بينه وبينها إلا ذراع. Until there is just this one arm's length from here to hell. And then, alhamdulillah, they begin to do the work of Jannah, فَيَدْخُلُهَا, and they go to Jannah. This may be us, who are non-Muslims all our lives. I know there's a woman, one of our sisters, Rashida. She called me one day and said, Imam Siraj, I got some good news for you. She had moved from Brooklyn to Trenton, New Jersey. She said, hey, Imam, I got some good news for you. I said, what? Rashida, you got married? She says, no, but my mother took Shahada. 84 years old. 84 years old, took Shahada. And 1 year later, she died. May Allah give her Jannah. You know, 84 years. 1 year, you study the life of Malcolm. Think about Malcolm. Think about the life of Malcolm and Hajj Malik Shabazz. Think about his life even before he became Muslim. And then think about 1964, he goes to Mecca. And 1 year later, he died. May Allah give him Jannah. As the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, said, إِنَّمَا الْأَحْمَلُ بِالْخَوَاتِينَ, your deeds shall be judged by your last deeds. لا تموتون إلا وأنتم مسلمون, and do not die except as a Muslim. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All right, brothers and sisters, now I'm going to tell you about the bad news. I want to first ask you, how do you feel about, your Islam? How confident are you that you'll be in Al-Jannah? My prayers is that every one of you go to Al-Jannah. But be careful. The good news is that good deeds wipe out bad deeds. But on the other hand, bad deeds wipe out good deeds. All that you have done, I did an estimate of how many salats I made since I became a Muslim. It was over like 76,000 salats. You do the same thing. You count how many prayers you've made, how many times you fasted in the month of Ramadan. And that's impressive to go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with 100,000 prayers, and all of this. Don't give it up now, brothers. All of these good deeds. But I want to warn you, be careful. I want you to do what people call a self-check. Check yourself, evaluate yourself now. I read a report. Brothers, don't do it now, brothers. Don't give it out now. I read a report, Allah knows best. You know the largest Muslim country is Indonesia, like 261 million people. Do you know that everybody in Indonesia are not Muslims? I read a report, Allah knows best, that every year 2 million Muslims leave Islam and become Christians in Indonesia. But I can tell you this. Every masjid has 2 doors. It has a front door by which people become Muslims. Imam Siraj came to that front door. Imam Hamza, Yusuf, Zayd, Shakir, Abdullah Hakim Quick, Bilal Phillips, Abdul Hakim Jackson, Suhaib Webb, all of us came to that front door. But every masjid have a back door through which people leave the fold of Islam. You may know some of them, maybe some of your own children. You think about the people who used to come to the masjid years ago but don't come anymore because they left the fold of Islam. Our job, imams, leaders, is to open wide that front door and close that back door. I was in the airport, Washington, D.C., sitting at my terminal, my gate, U.S. Air, during the month of Ramadan. And I'm sitting down and I'm reading the Quran. And a man came next to me and said, is that the Quran you're reading? I said, yes. He said, I used to read the Quran. He said, is this the month of Ramadan? I said, yes. Are you fasting? I said, yes. He said, I used to fast. And then he said to me, I used to be a Muslim. And when he said that, I closed my book and started to talk to him because I felt that he needed me to talk to him. I said, what happened? He said, I became angry at Allah. You became angry at Allah? So I began to teach him. As I was talking to him, they announced that my flight was about to board. So I got up and said, my flight is boarding now. I have to go now. He said, I work for this airline and that plane won't move until I tell it to move. Sit down. I said, yes, sir. And I sat down. The reason that I sat down, I felt that he needed someone to talk to. I believe that day he came back to Allah. Can't prove it. But just the way he was talking, the way he was responding to me, I took the time, even though he left the fold of Islam. What am I saying? People that leave the fold of Islam. I told you that once in a while the people in Jannah can see the people in hell, and the people in hell can see the people in Jannah. There's a lot of examples. I'm going to give you one more. And I want you to think about it. قالوا ربنا إخواننا. The people will talk to Allah on Yawm al-Qiyamah and say, Allah, our brothers. كانوا يصومون معنا. They used to fast with us. ويصلون معنا. And they prayed with us. وتحجون معنا. And they made Hajj with us. You should be asking yourself the question, what they doing in hellfire? The Prophet, he said about the people who make Hajj, I pray that every one of you go to Hajj. Allah, the Prophet, he mentioned, وَحَجْ مَبْرُورٌ لَيْسَ لَهُ جَزَاءً إِلَّا الْجَنَّةِ. And those who haven't accepted pilgrimage, there's no reward except Jannah. So the question is, what they doing in hellfire? You as a Muslim should be saying, I made my prayer, I fasted Ramadan, I made Hajj, I made Umrah. I want to make sure that's not going to be me. So I want to know what happened, why are they in the hellfire? And let me give you an example, perhaps something to think about. Our Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, was a great teacher. One of the methods that he used for teaching is asking questions. For instance, he asked a companion, أَتَدْرُونَ مِنَ الْمُفْلِسِ. Do you know what a muflis is? Muflis has different meanings, but the best definition for muflis is a bankrupt person. Sometimes you read in the dictionary a pauper, a poor person, but that doesn't really explain it. A muflis, a person bankrupt because a bankrupt person had money, had wealth, and lost it. So that's the better translation. So they say, yeah, muflis is a person, la dirham lahu wa man ta'ak. Ain't got no money. Poor person ain't got no money, ain't got nothing. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, listen carefully, because this is the crux of my khutbah, this is the warning to all of us. He said, a muflis min ummati, in my ummah, is one who will come to Allah Yawm al-Qiyam with salatin, with siyamin, with zakat. These people making prayer. That's not the one that didn't make prayer. No, these are the person who made salah, and they gave zakat, and they fasted. But there's a problem. Listen carefully. وَالشَّتَمَ هَذَا وَقَذَفَ هَذَا. Shatama means to curse, but not la'ana, not curse like that. Is to revile, to call bad names. And just think about that for a moment, what that means, what the Prophet is saying. Shatama means that trying to think of the best word. But for instance, you call someone the N name. Well, you black, they shatama. So Muslims are very careful that we don't even use bad terms when we talk about other people. Qadhafa is different. Qadhafa is to slander. You be careful. The Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, he said, من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فيقول خيرا أو يصمت. Whoever believes in Allah on the last day, let him say a good word and remain silent. You be careful. We talk too loosely. Yeah, that brother so-and-so, he did so-and-so and so-and-so. You be careful. Let me tell you something about the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him. He said, إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ, I'm only a human being. But what was the context in which he said that? He said, two people argue and one sounds more eloquent than the other, and I may give the judgment to the one who sounds more eloquent than the other. إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ. What did Jesus say, alayhi salatu wasalam? Prophet Muhammad said that Jesus saw a man stealing and asked him, did you steal? And the man said, Wallahi, Wallahi, I didn't steal. And Isa alayhi salatu wasalam said, Amantu billah, kadabtu ayniya. I believe Allah and I deny my own eyes. So when you talk, be careful that you don't slander. وَأَكَلَ مَالَ هَذَا, and this person stole the wealth of another person. Be careful, because you can be a muflis on Yawm al-Qiyamah, even though you make salat. You can be a muflis, you can be a bankrupt person if you steal somebody's wealth. وَسَفَكَ دَمَ هَذَا, and this one took the life of another. You know, I think last year, a year and a half ago, in Atlanta, Georgia, I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and there was a brother who worked in a restaurant, A-class restaurant. And they hired a Muslim brother. And he came late at night, and he killed that worker. Famous case, he's in jail now, they caught him. Shed the blood. Because you robbing the person, now you shed their blood. You be careful. There are a lot of people, ask them in prison. They go to rob somebody, they're not trying to kill them, they don't intend to kill them, but if you got a gun, and if they resist, you may use that gun and kill the person, and then you may be condemned to the hereafter, in the hellfire forever. وَضَرَبَ هَذَا, the fifth one, and they beat this person. So you got to be careful, because the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he said, Allah will take their good deeds, the siyam, the salats, and give it to the person that they slandered, give it to the person that they reviled, give it to the person that they stole their wealth, give it to the person that they killed, give it to the person that they beat up. Allah will take their good deeds and give it to that person. And if your good deeds run out, Allah will take the bad deeds of that person and put it in you and throw you in the fire. Brothers, be careful. I'm not saying just do the salat, do the ibadah, yes, but now you got to hold the ibadah. Your worship is like a man with a bag of gold, and there's a hole in the bag, and he's walking around with this gold, and the more he walks, the gold falls out of the bag until there's no gold left. This is a muflis. I'm telling you, be careful, man. Be careful of your tongue, and be careful what you do, unless you lose your good deeds. What a waste of time. Horrible. All the good that you did. You fasted every Ramadan. You fasted on Mondays and Thursdays. You fasted the fast of Dawood every other day. You mean to tell me you're going to lose that? You're going to give it to somebody else? Are you crazy? So, last thing I want to warn you about. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. Have mercy on us. Somebody come to you and say, listen, look what these Catholics are doing to us. We gotta do something. Ain't right what they doing. We gotta do something. Let us go kill these Catholics. For real? You're gonna take a truck. You're gonna drive a truck into some people and think that that's okay? You're gonna shoot some, let's go kill those Catholics. You're gonna get on a plane and you're gonna run the plane into a building thinking you're gonna get something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Be careful. I give you one ayah from Quran, one hadith, and then we finish. We have to be obedient to leadership, but with this caveat. يا أيها آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم فإن تنازعتم في شيء فردوه إلى الله والرسول إن كنتم تؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر. All you believe, obey Allah, obey the messenger, those charged with authority among you. But if you differ with anything, refer it back to Allah and His messenger if it is you believe in Allah on the last day. Here's the messenger of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam, got an Ansar, and he sent some people on an expedition, and he said, obey him. Obey him. So they go out. This leader that the Prophet told them to obey, he got angry at them. He said, did the Prophet say obey me? They said, yes. He said, I order you to build a fire. Get wood and build a fire. I wish, brothers, that you would try to listen to your brother. Some of you know something when you're standing here. I see you every time you watch the clock. I see you. Don't worry about the clock. It'll be a couple of minutes. I'm not one of those give long Khutbahs. I'm almost finished. I'm gonna finish in a second. Now you make me talk time because you're looking at the clock. Stop looking at the clock. I'll come down here. I'm serious, man. You looking at the clock every time. Playing with you, man, from Brooklyn. I'm sorry, man. I don't want to do that. Don't make me do that. So he said, the Prophet said, obey me. He said, yeah. He said, now I order you to go into that fire. And so now here the Muslims now, he said, go into the fire, and they're thinking about it. Some of them that said, you know what, we came to Islam to save us from the fire. And so while they were contemplating, the fire went out. I want you to listen. When that word got back to the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, there's 3 narrations. Listen to each one. Number 1, the Prophet said, لَوْ دَخَلُوهَا مَا خَرَجُوا مِنْهَا إِنَّمَا تَعَتَى فِي الْمَعْرُوفِ. Had you gone in that fire, you would not have come out. Because obedience is only what is right, just, fair. Second one, لو دخلوها ما خرجوا منها حتى يوم القيامة. Had you gone in that fire, you would not have come out until the day of judgment. Because obedience is only what is right. The last one is the scariest of them all. You choose which one. لو دخلوها ما خرجوا منها أبدا. Had you gone in that fire, you never would have come out. Ever. Are you kidding me? Some chump is going to tell you to go kill innocent people. As you drive in that car, you running over, what are you thinking? Allahu Akbar, for real? You shooting people, you blowing up a masjid. Well, they ain't praying right. That ain't your business. That's not your job. Teach them. Teach them. That's what the Prophet did, peace and blessing be upon him. وَمَا كَانَ لِنَفْسٍ أَن تُؤْمِنَ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. Nobody can believe except by the permission of Allah. It ain't up to you. إِنَّكَ لَا تَحْتِمِ الْأَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. You can't guide people whom you love. Allah guides to the straight path whomever He pleases. Your children may leave the fold of Islam. Now I finish with this. When I read the hadith, and the people in the Jannah saying, Rabbana, Ikhwanana, Allah, these are our brothers. You know what I thought Allah was going to say? You don't know what they did. We don't know. We don't know what people do. You don't know what, that's what I said. Allah said, you didn't know what they did. Yeah, they went to the masjid, but you don't know how they were. I read hadith, but there's people in hellfire, people going to gather around the hellfire. I said, wait a minute, aren't you the one to tell us to do the good? He said, yes, I told you to do the good, but I didn't do it myself. Aren't you the one who told us to stay away from the evil? Yes, I told you to stay away from the evil, but I didn't stay away from it myself. I know Muslims like that. They talk. I thought Allah would say something like that. When the believers are saying, Rabbana, Ikhwan, our brothers, they used to pray with us, they used to fast with us, they made hajj with us. You know what Allah will say? Akhriju min araftum. Take out of the hellfire all that you recognize. Allah put them there. Allah is so merciful. You know what He's doing. He make you be able to see them. He know what you're going to say. So Allah used us to take people out of the hellfire. You don't believe it? The Prophet said, Antum shuhada Allah fil ard. You are Allah's witnesses on earth. So brothers and sisters, I finish. I gave you the good news. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless every one of you to go to Jannah. And I told you the bad news, the warning. I pray that Allah spare every one of you and myself from the hellfire. Never go into the hellfire. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا وأخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملت الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واغفر عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين